Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to Hanging with the Elderlies. I am Felicia R. Phillips, the founder of Hanging with the Elderlies and the host of this amazing, I was about to say incredible, so let's call it amazing and incredible channel that was created to provide information, resources, and support for those who are currently in a caregiving role or for those who may foresee caregiving in the near future. I am getting a lot of new subscribers today, and so I thought that it's been a while since I've done a video, and it might be a good opportunity for me to reintroduce myself, to reintroduce Hanging with the Elderlies, and let you know what it's all about. So I'm going to try to make this short and sweet. Welcome, welcome, welcome to everybody who is new to my channel. I want to start off by just sharing my story. So who am I? Well, again, my name is Felicia Phillips. I wear a number of different hats depending on where we're connecting. I'm the same person, so I'm not shady, I'm not two-faced or anything, but I wear a number of different hats. I am an entrepreneur. I am an author of a book, Chasing God, Manifesting Your Dreams. I am an international empowerment speaker. I have traveled all over the country and across the world, from New Delhi, India, to the United Arab Emirates and places in between, empowering men and women to walk in their destiny and manifest their dreams. I am also a healthy lifestyle coach. I'm dressed and ready to hit the gym now. And so I help women, particularly those who are at risk of chronic disease, to lose weight and to lead a healthier lifestyle. And of course, I am a caregiver. I'm a caregiver. Also have over 20 years of experience in marketing and in communications. And so I work primarily in healthcare marketing and communications, but have also done some work in the nonprofit arena. So again, I wear a number of different hats. On top of that, I am the mother of two beautiful daughters and two grown bonus sons. In fact, all my children are grown except for my baby girl, who is 16 years old. But I have a 21-year-old, soon to be 22. I have a 26-year-old, and I have my oldest bonus son is about to be 30. On top of that, I have three lovely, lovely grandsons, and then one bonus granddaughter. And so I am married. I have been married for 19 years. I am approaching my 20th anniversary. And so again, I wear a number of different hats. So that's who I am. What is my story? Well, I'm a caregiver, and that's the hat that we're here to talk about today. I am a caregiver for both of my parents, and I have been in this role since 2017, the top of 2017. And I'll say that I've been in that role as in taking over financial responsibility, as far as responsibility for health and wellness, et cetera, with my parents. I have been serving in some capacity as a caregiver much longer than that, but I took on the full load in January of 2016. So let me tell you a little bit about my parents, who we all know and love as the Elderlies. My father is the easiest to deal with. My father is 73 years old, and he suffers from Parkinson's disease. He doesn't have a lot of the symptoms that I see in some of my caregiving support groups. And so I'm blessed that he's still able to get up, to move around, to walk around. But at the same time, he has a lot going on with his Parkinson's disease. He's much slower. He has a tremor in both hands. Cognitively, there's some things that don't quite connect. His memory appears to be okay, but his processing seems to be a little off at times, or just a little slow at best, a little slow. And so he's also very, very thin. He's very, very thin. In fact, I try to keep him healthy, otherwise beyond Parkinson's disease, because he just doesn't have enough body fat to sustain him if he were to get some other type of sickness. And so that's my dad. That's the quiet part of the Elderlies. And then there is my mother. My mother is 71 years old, and my mother has a host of chronic conditions, including type 2 diabetes, stage 3 kidney disease, sleep apnea, hypertension, vascular dementia, and Alzheimer's. She is in the earlier stages of the vascular dementia and the Alzheimer's, and in fact, either doesn't know that she has it, doesn't accept that she has it, or a combination of both. Because if you talk to her and ask her about it, she'll say that she doesn't have either. But she absolutely has been diagnosed with both of those conditions. And then there's me, and I have stepped into the role of caring for both of my parents. I started this YouTube channel last October, so it's still in its infancy. So thank you so much for subscribing, because caregiving has rocked my world. It turned my world upside down. It has kicked my behind. It has put me in therapy. It has just impacted me personally. It's impacted my family. It's impacted my children. It's impacted my money. It has impacted my everything. And so as I am going through this process, I really wanted to find a way to help other people, to provide support for people that are dealing with some of the same things. Like right now, I don't talk about this a lot, and I'm only going to share this just to give you an example. But we have been more recently dealing with some incontinence issues. I don't talk about that a lot because I try to protect the integrity and the dignity of my parents, but it is very frustrating to have to deal with that, particularly when the person that you're caring for is not open to allowing you to help. And so we're trying to deal with this, trying to work through it, trying to find strategies to help, right? To help the person being cared for, to be comfortable, to help them to not be embarrassed, to help to make sure that they're clean, to help to make sure that they are not staying in soiled clothing, to help keep the area sanitized and fresh, and everything in between. But that, I promise you, is so very frustrating. It's so very frustrating. And so I try to give an authentic look at caregiving. So I'm jumping ahead to what you can expect for the channel. So I'm going to back up because I'm still telling you the story. So in January of 2017, after my mother, for a period of about 3 years, being in and out of the hospital every 6 months while living in her own home, my husband and I made a decision that we would step in as caregivers. And so the first step was, we did not have enough space in our home in order to have my parents come and live with us. But we thought if we could convince them to move closer to us, that would help, because at the time they were 45 minutes away. And I was working full time, serving as a youth minister at a local church, and, doing volunteer work and a host of other things. And we lived 45 minutes away from my parents. So when there were issues, when they needed care, when they needed medicine, whatever it is that they needed, it was very difficult with me still having 2 children at home to be able to do what they needed to do and spend all of that time with the commute. And so we convinced them. I didn't think they were going to do it, but they left their home of, at that time, that was 3 years ago. So they had been in that home for 43 years. They left their home and they moved into an apartment that was about 6 blocks away from my home. So we could walk back and forth. They could walk back and forth, etc. And the plan was to eventually move them into a larger space. We were going to move into a larger space and integrate the household. So we did the apartment thing for about a year and had no idea what we were getting ourselves into. We did not know that my parents needed the level of care that they actually needed at the time. I didn't even know that when my parents moved, that my father was no longer driving. He had a car, but apparently my sister was doing all the driving. He stopped driving. And so when we moved them from their home to this apartment in my neighborhood, in a suburb, like a different area. So they're in a new area they're not familiar with. And to find out that my father no longer drives was like, whoa, now we are caregivers and we have to play Uber, taxi, Lyft, or whatever you want to call it. And so we then had to take care of that. Then there were all the medical appointments. I had started going to a couple of my father's doctor's appointments prior to him being diagnosed with Parkinson's, just to get a sense of what was going on and to just, kind of know what was going on. But I wasn't going to all of them. I wasn't scheduling them. They were doing those independently. And then my mother, again, being in the hospital every 6 months for a stroke and high blood sugar. When she first was diagnosed with diabetes, her blood sugar was 1250. 1250, y'all, that's death. Like, she shouldn't be alive, but she was admitted with a blood sugar level of 1250. And so my mother has been hospitalized for, again, strokes, for seizures, for her blood sugar being too high, for a host of things. And so as time progressed, each time she went into the hospital, she seemed to come back home with a need to see more specialists. So my mother had a host of medical appointments that I now had to take on. And again, it just rocked my world, just trying to work. I had a new job. So I started a new job in November of 2016. And then 2 months later, took on what I thought was just helping my parents, which turned out to be caregiving. And it was just a lot. It was just a lot. And so again, I launched this page because I thought, if I'm dealing with this, then I want to help other people who are experiencing this, so that, you're not the only one. Going back to that incontinence story, I shared my incontinence story with a friend. And when she told me what her parents were doing, it paled in comparison to the fact that I have an incontinence issue over here, and that I'm dealing with smells and all of the stuff that I'm dealing with. Like, her situation was just much worse, bottom line. And so not that I want to find comfort in people who are doing worse than me, but it just helps to be able to talk to people. I had another friend who had a similar issue. And it was just comforting to be able to talk to somebody that could understand the frustration when you come out of yourself, when you are saved, sanctified, and filled with the Holy Spirit, but there's some choice words that are literally about to leap out of your mouth because you are dealing with such extreme issues. And so I wanted to provide support for those who are currently in this space. But then I also wanted to reach people who may have parents that are in their 40s or 50s, and they may be fine right now, but reach those individuals with the possibilities of caregiving in the future and help them to plan better so they're not thrust into it. People like me that were still raising children and then suddenly had to jump into the sandwich generation, where I am now taking care of my parents, but also still trying to raise my children. My daughter, my 16-year-old, is going into the 11th grade. And so we should be counting down to an empty nest, but instead we're counting down to my children being out of the house. And instead of traveling the world and living our best life like we anticipated doing, knowing that we will still have my parents here. And I don't know how long that's going to be. And you don't want to rush that, right? I mean, the only option is them dying. And they're not going anywhere anytime soon. And so that's my story. That's sort of my story. You'll learn more about my story on the videos that you're going to watch. I have some videos now that are up that talk about caregiving and your relationship or your marriage. My marriage has definitely been impacted by caregiving. In fact, that video is probably almost a year old now. So I will likely be doing an update with my husband. There is a video on caregiving and the impact on your children. So my oldest daughter talks about that, and we have many more conversations that we're going to have. And then you're going to see some videos with my mother just cut it up. So she is the main character of the Elderlies, and you're either going to love her or hate her. Most people love her. Most people think she's hilarious. She's hilarious from the outside looking in. When you have to live with and deal with that on a daily basis, sometimes it's not so funny. But that's really what my story is. So I want to educate. I want to inform. I do want to entertain. So I want to make you laugh. I want to make you celebrate. I want to help you to cherish the good times. Sometimes I look at my life honestly, and I'm like, I don't know how I got here. And if I had to repeat it, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. Some things I wouldn't. I can honestly say I don't know that I would opt to be a caregiver a second time around. if I had to go back and do this all over again, I cannot tell you that I would do it again. And I know that sounds horrible, but I look at the impact that it has had on not just me, because it's one thing to make a decision that you have to deal with, but caregiving impacts every single person in my household. And my primary responsibility is to God and to my husband, and then to my children. And it has impacted my husband. It's impacted my marriage. It's impacted my children. It impacts our lives every single day. And that's a high cost. That is a high cost. And so I'm not sure that I would do it again. But again, I want to present an authentic look at caregiving so that you can make informed decisions. I used to judge people. Let me tell you, I used to judge people for putting their family in nursing homes. Oh, we don't do that, particularly in the African-American community. Oh, we don't just toss our loved ones in nursing homes. You know, we take them, that my people in my family, the older person eventually moves in with someone and you provide the care. But I had no idea what was required. I had no idea how it was going to impact me emotionally, mentally, physically, etc. And so I don't judge. You do what is best for you. And that's, again, why I have this page. I want you to be able to look at some of the things that I'm dealing with, look at some of the things that I'm presenting, some of the challenges, and then you can make the decision. Is this something that I can take on? Is this something that I want to take on? Or, maybe you want to do it, but you realize you're stressed out, you're depressed, and now you're on medication, right? Because you're caring for somebody else and you're not caring for yourself. So for some of you, you're going to have to make the difficult decision to put the loved one in a nursing home or to put the loved one in an assisted living or whatever the case may be. I want to give you the information. I want to equip you with the knowledge, and I want to give you a real glimpse of caregiving. So that's what you can expect from this channel. Right now, unfortunately, I had planned to do a little bit of information, a little bit of interviews, a little bit of just hanging out with the elderlies. And I was really ready to get going with the momentum with all of that. And then COVID hit. So right now, the elderlies have been stuck in the house because I don't play. They haven't been out, and I don't let anybody in because I just told my mother I did not do everything that I've done to keep you healthy and to improve your health for you to go and get COVID-19 and die from COVID-19. So the elderlies have been sheltering in place. And so they haven't been out, which hasn't really lent itself to us really capturing video of us out and about and having fun, etc. But I'm praying and believing God that more is to come and that we'll get through this COVID stuff and I'll be able to do more of those. But I do have more coming from my children and their thoughts on caregiving. I do have more updates from my husband and caregiving and marriage. And then I really want to walk you guys through how to do some planning. I have some great resources from our local hospital and a caregiving support group. And so I'm going to be doing a series of videos on how to plan for the future, how to have those difficult conversations with your loved ones, and how to prepare should you need to be a caregiver. So that's what you can expect from the page. Again, check out the videos that are out here right now. There are videos on, one day I was just having a really bad day. So you'll see, if you follow me and any of my other brands with my other hats, whether it's FR Phillips Ministries or Through His Eyes LLC, my speaking and coaching firm, or the Fab to Fit Academy, or whatever, you probably see me a little bit more dialed up. Hanging with the Elderlies is just completely transparent. Like, this is me. I don't have any earrings on right now. I don't have any makeup on. I'm in my workout gear. Like, this is just me. This is me. Because it's not about how I look and all of that. This is about getting information to you and giving you a glimpse of caregiving so that you can make the appropriate plans and make the appropriate decisions when the time is right for you and your family. So more videos to come. Thank you so much for subscribing. I just want to end this with my big ask. My big ask for you is that you share this channel with anybody you know who is a caregiver, or anybody that's just in their 30s to 40s with small children. You especially want to think about caregiving when you have small children, because there's so many people that are in the sandwich generation that are faced with the task of caring for older adults, caring for aging parents, and raising their children. And so while you're in the midst of raising your toddler, you're so focused on your toddler and they're so cute and oh, they're about to start kindergarten and they're riding their bike for the first time and they're going to camp and all of those things that you're not thinking that in 10 more years, perhaps when your toddler is in middle school, that your parents might be sick, your parents might have an accident, something may happen, your parents just may begin to deteriorate mentally, and you might have to step in. So what does that look like when you have a 10-year-old and a 12-year-old, and then you still have to go and take care of your parents because you're an only child? Or what does that look like when you have smaller children? Your children are still toddlers, but you're now being asked to help with a sick parent or help with two sick parents. What does that look like when you're in a different state? How do you deal? How do you manage that? Where do you get the support, the resources? And so, again, if you know anybody that is in that place, then I want you to share this page with them, share this channel with them. And then also I invite you guys to check out our Instagram and Facebook page. You can connect with us at Hanging with the Elderlies on Facebook and Instagram. That is at Hanging with the Elderlies. And finally, I think I'm like about 30 subscribers away from being able to lock in the unique URL for this page at Hanging with the Elderlies. You need 100 subscribers. I think you can help me to get there. So if you just, again, share this page with anybody that you know who may need to benefit from caregiving, then I can hit that goal. I would be so blessed to be able to hit that goal this week. So I'm looking for you to help me out. And again, check out the page, check out the videos. You'll want to pay particular attention to up, down, around, and around. That's all I'm going to say. It's going to be great. Thank you so much for subscribing. I am Felicia Phillips, and this has been your introduction or reintroduction to me and Hanging with the Elderlies. Thank you so much for subscribing. God bless and have a wonderful day.